and what that may portend to next. Also, UFC 223 blockbuster news coming out of the weekend. And hit Dana White 4 times, and he will understand,
He finally gonna be like, nah, I'm good.
But, I mean, are you agreeing, or are you at least in agreement that this is like one of the most cursed situations out there?
This is the 8th time the main event has already changed.
But I'm saying in between those two particular fighters.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah, easily.
Normal. Where's normal?
Let's start.
8 move?
Is somebody...
8.
Is some,
Oh, no, it's my laptop.
somebody ringing doorbell? Somebody here?
Nah, my laptop.
Okay.
Jesus.
Let's start with some basketballs. Final four, your championship. Oh, sorry. We'll start with the championship game. Michigan Wolverines will take on the Villanova Wildcats. The Michigans took down the Fighting Loyola of Chicago, 69-57.
Don't say it again, though.
And basically, Mook, your Michigans overpowered them in the second half. Okay, you were very frustrated, a frustrated Wolverine fan in the first half as your boys struggled to find offense.
Again.
But Big Mo,
Tell you, got them big fellas down there, man.
stepped up, a double-double in the game, and I think Michigan ended the game on like a 15-2 run, something like that. And Loyola appeared to run out of gas, but I'm here to praise the victors. Michigan looks fantastic. This is a 13-game winning streak now. They are the proverbial hot team in the tournament. And I'll just start off by asking you this, but when you look back, is this a blessing in disguise that the Big Ten +4 tournament was scheduled when it was and gave your boys a week off? Did that play into it, or is that an overreaction?
I would think it probably played into it a little bit, and it also contributed to the rust in the first couple of games. Because I think for me, the way they was playing, before they ended up winning the tournament, they was clicking it all. Now, granted, I am glad that they went and got the rest, but you can kind of see that it takes them a while to kind of get rhythm and get going. You know what I'm saying? They've started the last 3 games out just heavily turning the ball over in the first half. Luckily for them, they've been able to come back and win the game, but you can't do that against Xavier because you get them extra possessions, they're gonna come down court and shoot major threes on you. You know what I'm saying? So that is kind of my concern, the slow starts that they've been having, and they're gonna have to find a way. I mean, I know it's easier said than done, but as long as they can hold on to the ball and make every possession count. I know it sounds so cliche, but with this Villanova team, you cannot afford to let them get out in transition and shoot threes, because that is definitely what they're good at. But them big fellas from Michigan, though, I think they can control the paint, which kind of control the tempo of the game. Obviously, I'm going to pick them to win, but they can't afford to get on a slow start. Also, one more thing that kind of concerns me is the fact that Villanova can hit their free throws down, down the stretch. Michigan been kind of shaky every now and then when it comes to the free throws, but I think it'll be a good game. I got Michigan 80 to 76. I think it's going to be a close game, though.
Very good. Villanova advances by thrashing the life out of the Kansas Jayhawks. 13 first-half threes on their way to an NCAA record. 18 threes made in the game, and everybody had some threes. Rick Brunson's son had some threes. My man Pascal had some threes. Michael Bridges hit some threes. They got a nice guard off the bench named DiVincenzo, and they're the best team I've seen in the tournament. If you watch them, even on missed shots, they are getting fantastic looks, okay? Their guards are players that you can trust with the ball in their hands. They don't do stupid stuff like dribble twice and pick up their dribble. What the hell is that, man? One thing I need for my guards to do is an ability to make decisions while dribbling the ball. And Jalen Brunson and Phil Booth, they do a great job of making decisions with the ball. Kansas, they just didn't have enough firepower. Once Villanova started making threes and crashing the offensive boards, it was relatively, it was a wrap. It was a wrap in my opinion. So I got Villanova. I think that their offense will be the best that Michigan has seen all season long. I think they got a little bit more depth Now, I think what could happen for them to lose is Michigan defends them well, and the bigs get the Villanova bigs into foul trouble. Bimo?
I think with how Villanova was. Also, shout out to Pascal, who went 10 for 11. I think he's like the third or fourth player in NCAA history to go 10 for 11 from the field. But with Villanova, like, their shooting is great. Also, with the fact of, I was saying how they was taking it to Kansas, how when they had their ball rotation, like, not a lot of cross-court passes, and there's usually not a lot of passes going on. It's maybe 2 or 3 passes, then they shoot a shot up. And also, you did mention them with good offensive rebounding. Now, Mook, with the Wolverines, y'all have a great defensive squad. The defense is great. I love the rotations and everything, but y'all also play big down the middle in the paint. But at the same time, the only thing I'm worried about is perimeter defense. I'm worried about that a whole lot because if they shoot like that shot against Kansas, that's going to be a problem. But I give your defense so much credit into this game, and I like the score that you picked. If they can keep them under 80 points or anything like that, that would be y'all game to win. The only problem is if Villanova have that same shooting night like they did, a couple of days ago, and that's going to be a problem. And I think you guys don't have enough offense to play catch up with them. So y'all got to go to the paint and go early against Villanova because it shouldn't be a situation where you got to trade 2 for 3s. Y'all going to keep going to the paint. If y'all have a great shooter that can come up and match that firepower with Villanova as they get hot, then I think Michigan got a chance. But I am picking Villanova. I'm picking Villanova 80 to 74. It's going to be a close one.
All right, very good. In the women's Final Four and championship game, which was Friday and Sunday, I'm going to bruise her last name, so I'm going to start calling her Lady Mamba.
Okay.
Arike, A-R-I-K-E. Arika, thank you, sir. Hit 2 game-winning shots, took down the mighty UConn in the semifinals, and then took down last year's runner-up in Mississippi State down with a game-winning shot. Notre Dame was down double digits in both games and managed to make a comeback. It was their first title since 2001. Going into the game, I did think that Mississippi State had the edge. They had the vengeance factor of unfinished work, and I thought they had the best 2 players, okay, in Victoria Vivians and Tierra McCall, okay? So, shout out to Notre Dame, man. 3 losses on the season, yet 4 players lost with torn ACLs. And it was 4 of their best players. We were just talking about like some practice squad or, those that didn't take the overshirt off in the game. These were starting center, your best point guard, and 2 of your wing players. So, congratulations to Notre Dame, man. I mean, that was a damn good weekend in the women's college basketball tournament. All right. Switching over to the big boys and sort of an in-between situation with the big boys. Are you all familiar with Darius Bazley?
Yes.
All right. So, my man Darius, let me make sure I get did I say the name right? Yes. Darius Bazley, a 5-star recruit. I think this would have been Syracuse's highest ranking recruit in maybe 10 years.
Maybe close to a little bit more.
A little longer than 10 years?
Since
Melo?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. He's a top 10, 5-star guy. And he said, nah, Brian, we good. Nah, Europe, we good. Nah, Syracuse, we good.
Yes,
G
sir.
League, though, we good. Let's do this.
Sir. Yes,
so,
sir.
Darius Bazley will spend a year playing for a G League affiliate. I'm not for sure how the placement goes, but he will make about $26,000 a year. He will get an agent, which will also provide him with possible opportunities to pursue endorsements outside of basketball. Now, I am 100% for this, okay? Now, the counterpoint those will present is, well, college this and college that in terms of not even sports-wise, but maturity-wise, okay? Have we all spent at least a year on a college campus?
Yes.
Okay, so there's an element there. I would have chosen to play for free in college before going to Europe. With all due respect to, let's see, Brandon Jennings and Jeremy Evans, Emmanuel Moutier, and my man Terrence Ferguson. Who
I say Moses Malone did it too.
He just spent a year in Europe, though.
He was just over.
He went to the ABA. I think he went to the ABA first.
Okay.
So I'm all for this. Now, people have brought up the salary. People have brought up also, which I think was an interesting point. What if you get drafted by the Spurs affiliate, the Austin Toros, but you won't even play for San Antonio the following year? See, this isn't like minor league baseball where I send you down to Frisco. You are, in a sense, property of the Rangers, okay? So he could play for the Texas Legends or that soccer number was 905 for the Torontos, the Fighting Stackhouses or whatever. But look, I don't know if this is going to be a trend, but I do think that if you get legal cash and an opportunity to make more money, his agent gonna give him all the bread to be taken care of until it's draft time, and he got to give that back. But I think this is a fantastic move. BMO, your thoughts on Darius Bazley's move to the G League?
The one thing that you mentioned, Dave, it was legal cash. So he don't have to go to college for that 1 year.
No FBI investigation?
No FBI investigations, nobody, following him around, anything like that. This is legal cash coming to him. And yes, Dave, between 26 and 30,000 salary is what he's going to get. Also counted with like endorsements that the G League will also get. That'd be extra bread for him. I think this is a fantastic idea because you still have players in high school right now that still, knowing that they had to deal with this 1 year of college and then going to the pros or go overseas. Now, with him setting this trend of making that decision to go to the G League, I think that's going to start off a whole movement for that, and I'm glad that this is happening because it all stems to the fact of you don't have to sit here and go through a development league, which is the NCAA for 1 year. You don't have to do that anymore. Now you can go already being affiliated with the NBA. Also, another thing, like you said, Dave, you can go to the Austin Toros. You won't be playing for that team, but
is that a problem?
No, it's not.
If you get under the Spurs tutelage, and then all of a sudden, Van Brand is like, no, we're going to draft him at, whatever, or Sacramento drafts him. You don't think that's a problem?
I don't think that's a problem because just think, when we were doing the Texas Legends games, there were more team scouts there than just those two teams that they're going against. There's other teams that's coming out and looking at other players too. So he'd be playing for the Austin Toros, and let's just say, they're going against Texas Legends. The Legends are looking at Toro players too. The Energy, the LA Defenders, they'll have scouts there also. There's scouts at every G League game like that. And so they look at other players too on other teams. So that's why you see so many this player getting the two-way contracts or the 10-day contracts and things like that. It's just a possibility, like you said, Dave, you can be under that affiliate, but you may be going to the LA Defenders in 2 weeks, and now you had to learn that system. And that's still a possibility where you're still getting looked at other teams through affiliates, but you're still one step closer to going to a NBA team, better soon than never. So I think it's a great idea.
Chris, your thoughts on Darius Bazley's move to the G League?
I think it's a disadvantage. And my issue would be is this. I like the money. You know me, how I feel about college. Y'all know how I feel about the college thing, so I like that idea, but I agree with you on the issue and Brad, Rick Carlisle sees this. What if because you got to think about this. They developed those players in the G League for that team. Jonathan Motley right now is not sitting in the G League just to be, another team can pick him up. He's there because the Mavericks would need him in about a year. So my thing is this: what if you get under one of those Spurs coaches, I can't think of the guy. What's the assistant coach? He helps out with that G League team. And what happens if he works with that guy and all of a sudden he's ready to play, and all of a sudden here comes Rick Carlisle saying, "Hey, we want that kid." Also, I think it's you got to figure out some parameters behind it because to me, that's when you need to make that into the minor leagues of the NBA, where they're able to draft them. Say he can play in the G League, but he goes into the NBA draft. But he has to sit in the G League for a year.
Yeah, and that's the rule. He has to play. Remember, you have to be a year removed from college or 19 years old at the time to place your availability for the draft.
See, I think they make it easier. What they should do is they should make them be eligible for a draft as soon as they leave high school, but they won't be eligible to play until they're 19 or play a year in the G League. You see what I mean? It's like a minor league thing.
Yeah, but then and I think that's going to happen because I read where eventually every team is going to have a G League affiliate. Okay, so then I think you get into the portion of the program where you can start just signing people to your minor league squad because that's how it works in baseball. I don't think all the Frisco Rough Riders, for example, are draftees. They're signees, free agents, international free agents, things like that. My only pushback is Adam Silver has said that they don't really advertise the G League as somewhere where you can come and spend your year 18 or your year 19 in to get ready for the NBA. So that's some collusion with the NCAA, which again, I understand the whole labor force aspect of it. We're getting free talent, we get a free farm system, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, when you start talking about, hey, we need to expand and extend a hand out, you know, to our high schoolers and even younger, you need to let them know that the G League is a viable option, and the Players Association might want to put us some extra bread back to make this more viable. I mean, hell, you know, 26,000 may sound a lot to some people, but they could easily start paying some of those guys 50 and possibly 100,000. So something worth bearing. Also, Darius Baisley, lefty. All right, let's get to some actual NBA players. We have the return of John Wall after 2 months, the return of Klay Thompson after 2 weeks, the return of KD after 2 weeks. I want to spin this forward towards the playoffs, whether you want to talk biggest addition or possibly biggest loss. So we won't have Joel Embiid for the rest of the regular season as him and Markelle Fultz collided heads. A facial contusion, an orbital fracture, and a concussion for Joel Embiid. He will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Steve Kerr has already said Steph Curry will miss the first round of the playoffs. And while he did sit for rest yesterday, I did see that Chris Paul has now missed 5 of the last 6 games. What additions, what subtractions possibly worry you as we close out the NBA regular season and head into the playoffs?
I think the additions that distracted me is the Steph Curry thing. As far as like him missing the first round of the playoffs. Like when KD came back, he also said how difficult it was without playing with him because he anchors the offense, a lot of things move around him and so forth. And so that gives KD a more opportunity to start playing more isolation ball like he was playing in Oklahoma City. He said it's been difficult playing without him. Also, you know, with Draymond also being hurt as well. So I think with that, you know, Steph missing out those games and missing the first round is going to be difficult. Missing Embiid is going to hurt them a whole lot, even though I did hear around that it is some second opinions that saying he may only miss 1 game on the first round of the playoffs. If that's going to happen, that's great. But at the same time, I don't want you rushing this guy back like this, you know, with a broken face. You know, that's not good. Whether you want to put a mask on him or whatever you want to do, I don't think it's a good idea to rush him like that. They did get folks back, and I'm just glad to see that he's getting his confidence back mentally. I mean, even seeing him dunking, you know what I'm saying, dunking on somebody, I thought, okay, well, that's good. But Embiid and Curry, I think those are the biggest things that I see that's going to just affect them in the playoffs so far. I still got Golden State winning this thing. I'm not going to give up on my pick, but I think it's going to take, you know, more than enough for Curry to get his confidence back, his rotation back, and get back to the lineup.
Chris?
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest issue is Houston because this is the same story about Chris Paul every year. Gets the playoffs, he gets hurt. And it's like, okay, because everybody had this high hope that, man, this will be the year that James Harden doesn't get tired, and then it's the year that Chris Paul doesn't get hurt. Now all of a sudden we're looking at it again. The Embiid thing for me is like this, look, he's a guy that can play every other day anyway. So for me, it's like, you just hope that he's healthy. It was a freak accident, so it's more or less not on him. They're in a tough situation because if they have to play Cleveland in the first round, that becomes a problem for them because you got look, Cleveland's biggest issue wasn't Embiid when they played them because they had nobody to physically match him, the offensively, like go back at him. But man, you take him out the paint for his defense, that's a big glaring hole. It may actually help them in a way because then it forces somebody like a Saric or somebody smaller to run to the 5 and kind of guard Kevin Love out there. But yeah, I mean the injuries it's a weird thing with Curry right now. I'm not worried about them because they have a good coach, but this reminds me of 2015 when they lost the finals, when they went 73 wins and Curry got hurt in the playoffs. You got to have those guys at full stride. I mean, look, to me, Curry is the most important because of his spacing. His ability to shoot from 30 feet away changes every dynamic about that team. There's no way you can replace that. Like, I know it sounds crazy. It may be easier to replace KD than replace him because the thing is with KD, he's just extra. That's overkill at that point. He's the overkill. Draymond, yes, defensively, hard, whatever you want to call it, y'all measure, fine. But Curry is like that person that runs that offense in a way he doesn't have to have the ball. His movement causes issues for those point guards. And I think that if you're facing Houston in the second round, he's not ready. He can make Chris Paul won't be tired. And that's the thing that kind of hurts a lot of teams when they face them. They get tired. So for me, the injuries are a little concerning. It's good to see John Wall back. It's good to see a couple other guys back. For me, the one injury that isn't mentioned is, man, what's going on in Boston right now? Because everybody's getting hurt in Boston. And look, no Kyrie changes every dynamic about that team. And there's no word on when Kyrie is. I don't think he's coming back this year. So no word on Kyrie. So I'm a little interested to see what's going on with that.
I agree. Boston currently will play either the Miami Heat or the Milwaukee Bucks in the 2-7 matchup. So that, yeah, I think you're right, Chris. Kyrie had some it says minimally invasive surgery.
Sounds like some Amari Stoudemire.
No, that sounds like knee surgery that was done to somebody else's knee.
Yeah.
Okay. And remember, this was the knee surgery he threatened to have in the summertime of last year if the Cleveland Cavs didn't trade him. So it's not like, he was making that injury up or making it to be more severe than it actually was. All right, let's take a break. When we return, we have news and notes from Moden. He says Jason Kidd, an accountant, and baseball movies. Mo Sports Talk on theafterparty.com. Springer.
George
Springer.
George.
God, man.
God, leading off like that.
Cover boy next year, dog.
Nah, you don't get it next year.